Everyone. I just had to jump on here really, really quick as I did a master class this morning. I look totally different. As you can see, I pulled my hair back because I got to doing some cleaning. Um, I made the mistake, or however you want to view this. I went on TikTok real quick, and I came across this woman. She's a government contractor giving out contracting advice. And someone in her life, I shared a reel, but I had to jump on here really quick. And she was giving out contracting advice. And somebody in her life said, I saw on YouTube where someone said you can't do pass through contracting. Now, let me back up, throw a little explanation in there. Pass through contracting is where you win the award as the prime. Say you win the award as a cleaner doing janitorial service. What you do is then hire a totally different company to do the janitorial work, i.e., LT&A wins a janitorial contract, and I hire Mary Maids to do the work. I take Mary Maid's invoice and add on an additional $1,000 and then bill the government. That contractor said, yeah, you can do that. I've done it. You can do that. I've been doing it for a long time. I want to give this piece of advice. And I'm speaking as a compliance officer, as somebody with 20 some years experience. I have sat through and ran through audits with the Defense Contract Audit Agency. Stop taking contracting advice from contractors. Just because they've done it doesn't mean it's right. Take contracting advice from contracting experts, consultants, people that have been in the industry and who have done the thing. I have sat with some of my power partners, and we have talked about getting out of the consulting game totally because we are in competition with people who, quite frankly, are just telling you what you want to hear because they're telling you the easy thing to do, and it's wrong. Let me tell you what happens when the auditor shows up at your door, and they will. That invoice gets pulled. They see your $1,000 on top of this Mary Maid invoice. And the question the auditor asks is, well, what did you do for this $1,000? If you can explain it, they will sustain it. If you can't explain it, you will have to return it plus penalties and interest. This is what's wrong with taking advice from people who have contracts versus taking advice from people who have contracting experience and knowledge. There is a difference. I bring 20 plus years experience in the industry, most of which has been spent on the audit side. I bring consulting, coaching experience with an eye towards the audit. I know what the auditor is going to ask you. And pass through contracting, while you can do it, I will tell you don't do it because the question you're going to get asked is, what value did you bring to the contract to justify your load? And most people can't answer that question. Government contracting isn't rocket science, i.e., it is not industrial engineering, but it requires character. It requires capacity. And if you don't have the capacity, build it before you get into contracting. Don't want $1 million contract knowing you can't fulfill it. And then you want to cheat your way into contracting. It isn't fair to you. It isn't fair for the end customer. And then all of this, it doesn't matter what agency, that's a red flag. Yes, it does matter which agency, because there are agencies who do not want to do with small businesses just for this reason. I had to do this quasi rant today. In the chat, in the description, I'm throwing it in the chat. Get on my calendar. And let's discuss the proper way to do government contracting. The government year just opened today. Let's talk about the proper way to do government contracting. You will see there's a fee for my discovery sessions. The first rule of government contracting is it takes money to contract. Grant Thornton did a study back in 2011. I need to look for the updated numbers. It costs a roughly 10% of the contract value to pursue that contract. So if you're going after $1 million contract, it will cost you roughly $100,000 in the B&P or bid and development stage. If you're not willing to spend money developing your business, then you should not be doing contracting right now. For those of you who say, I can't afford it, I would caution you to take a step back and build the capacity required to afford to do government contracting. I do a whole training on building capacity in government contracting. You cannot freebie your way into a multi-million-dollar government contracting firm. And I will stand 10 toes down on that. But you can scale your way into one. That's my TED Talk for this morning after my masterclass. My masterclass is posted. I actually did it on, broadcasted it on LinkedIn and YouTube. Tomorrow, I'm taking it down from everywhere other than YouTube, and I'm posting it to my podcast. Actually, I'm re-recording it and posting an extended version to my YouTube channel and to my podcast. So subscribe to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my podcast. Have an amazing weekend. Take that bit of tidbit for what it is, but have an amazing weekend.